Followers of the Grail of the Serpent, welcome to a new video. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how to overcome procrastination. In my Facebook group, Grail of the Serpent in a Circle, today I asked a question on what people want me to cover, what they need help with. And this video was a response to one of the answers or one of the comments under that question. So today, like I said, I'm going to talk about how to overcome procrastination. But before I do that, let me explain why a question like that is being covered on a channel that is about witchcraft and magic. See, I've been teaching magic for quite a long time, and I have been active on YouTube for about 4 years now. And I've had many students, all right? And when I look at what generally the problem is with progressing in magic, it usually has little to do with magic, believe it or not. And for that, we have to understand systemic thinking and cybernetics. Now, what does that mean? Cybernetics and systemic thinking. See, the world is a system. The real world works in a way where different parts interact with each other, and each part of that system being changed changes all other parts of the system. Okay, so in the real world, it is almost impossible to change one thing and not affect the whole. All right, you can see that in your own life. If you ever try to implement something new, let's say a workout plan, a diet or something like that, you will begin to see that something that was about one aspect of your life, meaning health and working out and then, looking better maybe, had an effect on all other parts of your day, you see. So at work, you had to plan ahead on what to eat at work so that you don't, mess up with your diet. And that's just one example, you see. So systemic thinking would be the right approach to life in general. However, the intuitive way in which we think is linear. We go from A to B. That's how we think. That's how we approach problems, and that's how we approach anything that we do in life, okay? Now, that leads to, problems when it comes to, let's say, politics, for instance, okay? Political problems, where the government tries to affect one thing linearly, right? A, B thinking, but somewhere completely different, something else is affected. And it's really hard, but not impossible, to oversee those non-linear interactions, right? Recently, I started to focus completely on the topics of money magic and psychic seduction and love spells, right? And when it comes to money magic, of course, I teach actual spells. I deal and talk about the spirits that you can use to create your spells, and I talk about specific rituals to do. But before I do that, in every lecture, I have a free class every Tuesday, by the way. You can watch that and take part in that if you're a member of the forum. The link for the forum you can find in the description. But on these classes, I cover much more than that. Before I go into those very specific rituals and very specific spirits, I cover basic understandings that need to be there in order to make the spells work, in order to make money magic work. See, most people, when it comes to money magic, they always want a money printing machine, right? Now, I don't know if you've ever visited a museum where there were actual money printing machines exhibited. But what you will find is, if you actually do that, or if you get to do that at one point, and I recommend you do, you will see that these machines are massive, they're extremely heavy, and they require a lot of maintenance. Even when they're not working anymore, even if they're not being used anymore, they require a lot of maintenance and a lot of work to keep them in shape. Now imagine them running, right? Imagine them actually printing out dollar bills or something like that. All right. So you need a very, very strong foundation for those money printing machines, right? You need, like I said, maintenance. You need energy that keeps them running. You need people that clean it out so that it can, print out clean dollar notes. So the bottom line is this: there's an infrastructure that needs to be there so that the money printing machine could work, you see. And for the most part, I assume that you would not be able to run that money printing machine. Does that make sense? So what I'm trying to give you is the complete package. Meaning, if I just told you how to do the spell, it wouldn't give you what you need in order to make the spell work, you see? Everything's a system. And what is necessary to make something happen is often not obvious to you, you see? So it is my job to, since I've been doing this much longer and with more success, it is my job to make this easier for you. This is why I emphasize systemic thinking in my teachings. And this is also why a topic like this, how to overcome procrastination, actually has a lot to do with your magic. And as I'm going to explain and lay out in the rest of this video, procrastination has a lot to do with how you deal with your mind, you see. And the way to overcome procrastination is to manage your mind in a different way. And I'm going to show you how to do that. And before I start with this explanation, once again, I do free lectures every Tuesday on money magic, wealth magic, or psychic seduction or love spells. Okay, and you can join those for free by becoming a member of my forum, also completely for free. The link is in the description, so you definitely want to be there. This is incredible content that is changing people's lives, and I mean that. So let's talk about procrastination. What is procrastination? Procrastination is usually the feeling of being stuck, meaning not being able to continue, or rather doing something else. Well, this is just a symptom. The cause of all of that is usually overwhelm. If you observe yourself, in the moments when you procrastinate, it's actually because you don't see a clear path anymore. You're actually overwhelmed. Too many moving parts, and you are not able to see the bigger picture anymore and how they all come together. So procrastination is not laziness. Procrastination is actually confusion, not being able what path to take. So when you are confronted with too many, essentially, decisions to make, right? Should I do this or should I do that? Should I do this or should I do that? When you're confronted with too many decisions to make, you become overwhelmed, and that causes procrastination, paralysis by overanalysis. Your subconscious is overanalyzing, and it paralyzes you. So you experience that as procrastination. See, the basis of procrastination is having too many decisions to make, right? So how do you overcome that? Instead of asking the question, how am I supposed to make all of this happen? Ask yourself this question instead, and really write it down. And I recommend that you take notes in this video, because this is what's going to solve that problem for you. With what action or activity can I solve all of those problems at once? Okay, let me repeat. With what action or activity can I solve all of those problems at once? Okay, and you might not get the answer right away, but as you let that sit and as you repeat that question, and remember, when you write something down and just let it sit, you're not you're not letting it just rest there. Your subconscious keeps working on it. All right. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time until it finds the answer. All right. So your subconscious is going to keep working on giving you the answer to that question, and you will find the answer. At one point, it's going to come to you. Maybe it takes a day, maybe it takes 2 days, whatever. But your subconscious is going to figure out an answer that's going to allow you to make all of that happen, to solve all of it with one specific action. And that could take some outsourcing, that could take some more strategic planning, but you're going to be able to do that. Okay, so this is the first tip. You may have noticed that overcoming procrastination has a lot to do with generating more clarity in your mind. Another big point to create and have more clarity in your mind is to be absolutely clear about your goal, the end goal. You see, the mind is constructed in a way, and I don't really know why, but it is constructed in a way where it has a hard time doing things that are not connected to an end goal, a purpose, you see. So the first thing that you should clarify is why you're doing that. What is the context of this action? What is the context of this action? So, as an example, your purpose could be to, as an example, be the first person that climbs a certain mountain, or the first person that lands on Mars or something like that. Okay, let's say, just as an example, your goal is to be the first person that lands on Mars. Okay, so that would be the big goal. That would be the vision that you focus on. Now, once you got that big goal, everything, every step of the way, and every activity takes on a meaning, all right, because now it has context, and you will be able to do it much easier. Now, after you did the first step of clarifying the purpose, the big goal, you have to actually write it down. Make sure that you write it down, okay? Remember, what you write down becomes important to your subconscious, okay? You mark it as important. You put a bullseye around it. So please do that. Next, when you think about the goal, you have to be sure that you actually want it. Okay, this is a very, very underestimated point. Oftentimes, people don't, not just oftentimes, actually, most of the time, people don't accomplish the goals that they have because deep down they don't really want them. Okay? For instance, let's say they have the goal of reaching the moon as the first person. Deep down, however, they're very introverted and shy. So their subconscious will be like, okay, well, when you accomplish this goal, it means that you're going to become famous. Well, I don't want to become famous, so I'm going to prevent you from accomplishing this goal. You see, this is just one example, but there will be many, many others. So you got to be absolutely certain that all of your values, all of your deep beliefs are in alignment with that goal. Okay? And really take your time and ask yourself, is there anything within me that is not in alignment with that goal? All right. So if you find something like that, you have two choices. You either change the goal or you change an internal value that you have. Okay. But you will not be able to accomplish the goal if there's something within you that prevents you from accomplishing it. That's the second step. Now, once you got your goal, and once you are sure that you want it, once you know that there's no internal friction, you can start reverse engineering the goal. Okay? So you basically know the end result that you want, and you know where you are. Okay, you have to clarify both of those very clearly. Okay, and then you can start reverse engineering. Okay, so along your way of going from A to B, of accomplishing your goal, there will be landmarks. Okay, and you would have to, and I want you to do that, you would have to clearly define those landmarks that will happen along the way. Okay, this will give you further clarity and it will clarify the path even more. Remember, procrastination is all about lack of clarity. So the more clarity you create with these steps that I'm giving you, the easier it will be for you to overcome and avoid procrastination. Once you've done this third step, you will have a pretty clear path ahead of you, right? And now the task will be to foresee and to predict obstacles, right? Example, you want to lose weight, which means that you're going to have to change your diet. But there's the situation when you're, for instance, let's say you're stressed, you always like to eat candy bars because that gives you some emotional comfort. You have to create a rule, a clear rule of what it is that you're going to do when something like that happens. Okay? Again, you have to foresee and predict the obstacles that might happen along the way. You know yourself best, okay? You know when you deviate from your diet. You know when you deviate from your plans. It might be external influences. It might be, I don't know, a certain time of the day. But you will know what factors make you deviate from your goals or from your plan. So you will have to foresee them and predict them. And give yourself if-then rules. If-then, okay? So if this happens, this is what I do. See, when unforeseen things happen, and especially in stressful situations, we have a tendency to revert back to type, to go back to what's comfortable, okay? In high-stress situations, we are very emotional. So we will go back into our shell and we will use old habits to cope. Now, if you're trying to accomplish a new goal, let's say you want to lose weight or you want to do something else, you will revert back to type if it's stressful. Okay, so it's important that you take precautions for that. And by the way, this is what the military uses. This is what any government agency uses. They have if-then rules for anything that you can imagine. Okay, let's say, for instance, a plane drops on a nuclear plant. What are we going to do? It's burning. They know exactly what they're going to do because they know that if they have to come up with a plan in the moment, it's going to be crap. All right. So they have to plan ahead, and you have to do that too in your life. All right. See, everything in your life is an extension of you. So whatever it is that you want to do, you have to manage yourself first the way that you want this other thing to work. Okay. So make sure that you have if-then rules, okay? So instead of grabbing the candy bar, I'm going to drink a glass of water so my belly feels full, okay? So if-then, right? This is very important. In the next step, break those landmarks down into 15-minute chunks, all right? So you have your entire path A to B, okay? The goal is B. You have broken this down into different chunks, and each one of those chunks will lead you to a landmark, a small goal, a small target, so to speak, right? Now I want you to take one chunk and break it down into 15-minute chunks, 15-minute targets, okay? And this is what you're going to use in your to-do list on a daily basis, okay? So you can make a lot of check marks behind a lot of activities. You see, each time you make a check mark behind an activity that you've written down, a plan, you will have a dopamine release, which is going to increase your motivation, okay? And if you continuously can do that, let's say 4 times an hour, imagine how motivated you're going to be like. And imagine how good it's going to feel. Imagine how good you're going to feel at the end of the day. You got this long to-do list and you got all kinds of check marks behind it, and you know that it moved you towards your goal. You see, this is what we want. We want you to get there as fast as you can with as much motivation as you can. And believe me, if you do this, you will not have any problems with procrastination anymore. Okay, you will instead, boom, you will move towards your goal high speed. Okay, so what could be those 15 minutes targets, right? Make a phone call, boom. Print out the statistics that I need. Take a shower, boom, whatever that might be, Make sure that you write them down and that you can cross them off. So, see, there will be much more to say about structuring yourself. There will be much more to say about how to create good plans and a structure in your day. But let me tell you, this has a lot to do with your magical practice. Okay? Because, see, your magic is an extension of you. The better you can manage yourself, the better you're going to be able to manage the energies around you. You see, the physical world and the spiritual world are not separate. They're interacting on a constant basis. So you can tell a lot about the quality of a magician based on their ability to manage and lead a productive life, because that tells you a lot about what's going on spiritually around them. Okay? Chaos is not necessarily what is desirable. It is a form of energy to be used here and there, but it cannot dictate your life. Otherwise, you will be destroyed. And like I said, there's much more to be said, and there's much more that I have to teach and I could teach. If you're interested in that, like I said, every Tuesday there are free lectures on money magic, wealth magic, love spells, psychic seduction. Find those links below this video. Get on the forum to get those free lectures, okay? And you will find much, much more of that stuff in there. Secondly, I've also created a subliminal recording for you. A subliminal recording will reprogram your subconscious mind to implement these steps automatically and also help you overcome procrastination. Okay, so this overcoming procrastination subliminal, which will make it much easier for you to implement those steps and to overcome your procrastination, you will find in another link under this video. Okay, I truly hope that you make use of this knowledge that I just shared with you. It has the potential to change your life, and I will continue to give you as much as I can. Be well.